Live, it's the Bison Football Show. Valley News Live and Gate City Bank present the Bison Football Show with head coach Chris Klieman.
All the credit goes to their team, to their coaches. They did an outstanding job of preparation. They never made it easy on us all day, no matter what the situation was, whether it was kicking game, whether it was offense or defense.
That was Wofford head coach Mike Ayers. He has a good team, but they were no match for North Dakota State this Saturday. The Bison were locked in, dominated 42-10. We welcome to the set head coach Chris Klieman. Congratulations to you and the team. 7 straight trips to the semifinals. The consistency is amazing with our program.
Yeah, great effort by the guys yesterday, offense, defense, and special teams. And it all started with our scout team guys having a phenomenal week of showing the defensive guys the option and showing the offensive guys the 3-4 scheme on defense. And we really appreciate the effort that those guys put in on a daily basis to get us prepared to play on Saturday.
Did you guys know ahead of time about Lennox McAfee? They were really quiet about that. The halfback, I see him out there in sweats and warm-ups. I was surprised. Everyone was surprised. They kept that under their belt pretty good.
They really did a good job. Coach Gazer mentioned it when he came in after warm-ups. He said the kick returner in the slot's not playing. And so, you know, maybe they changed a little bit as far as a couple personnel groupings that they hadn't gone to, that they went to. But everybody's going to have injuries this time of year.
You know, and a lot of people assume, you know, oh, 42-10, easy. A lot of work went into the preparation for this game, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did. They did a great job. Our staff did, both offense and defensively, of just making sure our guys were going to play as fast as they could and knew what their assignments were. And that's what it comes down to with the option, as well as running the football and throwing it against a really good 3-4 defense. And just a great job by our staff.
Nodak Insurance halftime scoreboard, you see that. And with Wofford's offense, they were really behind the 8 ball now, 35-10. That's not their game, chasing that many points, 265-95. The 2 turnovers late were really a tough situation for Wofford. Their credit the Bison defense for creating those turnovers. Well, one of the stars of the game, Easton Stick, and he's on the Gate City Bank hot seat. Easton, what is the most enjoyable thing you did this past summer?
I think just being at the lakes, hanging with friends, and doing things like that.
All right, you're from Omaha. It's a big town. Tell me something cool about it.
Yeah, well, we got the best zoo in the country. You can Google it. That's a fact. So
that's a good one. Hey, do you like to text or talk more?
I think it kind of depends on what it is. If it's with my family, for sure talking.
We got a question from the fans. If you had to give up movies or video games, what would you choose?
Video games for sure. Not very good.
I agree. If you were given $10 million today, what would you buy first?
That's tough. Probably a house somewhere warm for my whole family to use.
Good choice. What makes a great leader?
Caring about other people and using that to influence.
What do you like about the new locker room?
Oh, I mean, all of it's great. But I think the stuff that shows our tradition and things like that from years past is really cool.
Yeah, the branding's great.
Yeah.
What does the tradition of Bison football mean to you?
That means playing for the guy next to you.
All right, thanks, Easton. Well, Coach, up 35-10 at half. It's probably hard to focus in a little bit and how to finish the game.
Yeah, well, dominant first half, and we just told the guys, hey, it's 0-0, and let's go back out in the second half and continue to dominate and just win every play. And we needed to have another good performance, and you hit it on the head, just finish the game.
There's the final, 42-10. So impressive. Wofford has a good team. The Bison jumped all over them. There's our Nodak Insurance Company final stats page, 177 yards of total offense. I mean, Wofford can run the football, folks, and the Bison completely shut them down. Time of possession, another key. Wofford likes to control that stat. They couldn't do it against the Bison, and that was a huge difference. Let's hear what the players had to say after the game.
We execute, and when we do, you know, we're hard to keep up with. So I just feel like some people lack on the respect on our name, but you know, we have a point to prove every week, and we just got to go out there and execute.
Yeah, that's kind of huge. When that was our goal, is to force turnovers, force 3 and outs, kind of just to get them off the field quick. And you know, guys made some plays, and we're able to force the ball out. I think they were trying to do a little too much, I think, and we were kind of taking advantage of it. So it was nice to give the offense the short field like that.
I know in practice it's all about giving looks, showing different looks to make them think one thing and then switch out and show the other thing. So during the game, we try to give different looks to the offense so they could run the ball one way or another, and I think we did a good job at that.
We knew it would be different seeing them compared to our scout team offense, and we kind of got adjusted to it those first few drives. They had some plays on us, but once we got used to it, we were able to kind of dictate the speed of the game a little bit, and that really helps when you're trying to make open field tackles. You can slow them down and help guys rally the ball.
We knew we had to turn it on. We had to put our foot on their throats. Just keep rolling. We used the opportunities that defense gave us and just had to put it away and score touchdowns. We couldn't settle for field goals. We had to score touchdowns.
Well, Wofford had a frustrating day, but their players and coaches handled the press conference afterwards well and were complimentary of the facility and the Bison as a team.
They were a really good defense. They fit their assignments. They did what they needed to do, so hats off to them. And we got to execute better in those type of situations.
These guys, I think, did a nice job as far as the way that they tried to defend us. They kept mixing it up. The tough thing is you've got to play. They decide that they're going to flip the defense on you, and trying to check a play is almost impossible here. And so you've got to be a tremendous time manager as far as getting the plays in to afford your guys a chance to be able to check the plays that you need to run.
Yeah, they fly to the ball really well. They got great team speed. And you got good players, you got a good scheme, you're a pretty good team.
Yep, it's hard to check off of plays with that noise. Great job, Bison Nation. Well, this week's Nodak Insurance player of the game is quarterback Easton Stick. A big part of this game was getting a lead and making that option offense uncomfortable chasing points. Stick was really good early in the game and hit them for some big plays, and it was 14-3, then 21-10, and then Wofford unraveled. Stick was 11 of 16 for 3 touchdowns and was a big part of how this game played out.
We knew coming in it was going to be a challenge, and Coach Mess and his staff put together a really good plan, and we were able to do a lot with different formations and personnels, and I think kind of kept them off balance a little bit. And guys executed really well. We protected well, and when guys got the ball, they made plays, and that's always fun to see.
Coach, we really didn't suffer injuries in this game. Austin Kunert got dinged up, but man, is he tough as nails. And Levi Jordheim is starting to get close, isn't he, the kid from Dickinson?
Yeah, Levi's doing a great job of working to get himself back in. We warmed him up, and he would have been an emergency guy for us this week had something happened to one of our linebackers. And so we're hopeful that next week he'll be close to 100%, and we need Levi back. He's an impact guy for us on defense and an impact guy for us on special teams.
Yep, great kid too. Crowd loves him. It'd be fun to see him back out there. Let's dive into this matchup now with Sam Houston State coming in here. They did survive Kennesaw State. Okay, this will be the 4th time in the last 7 years we've played them. 2 of those, 11 and 12, were in the national title game. They came in 14-0 to that first title game, 11-3 into the second one. In 14, they came here in the semifinals. The Bison jumped all over them. They were 11-4 that year. This might be their 2nd best team of the 4. They're 12-1 right now. Lost to Central Arkansas. What's your early thoughts on Sam Houston?
Well, obviously a really explosive offense. The quarterback's a great player, and he's got a lot of weapons. And then I think they're pretty opportunistic on defense, and they have really good athletes. And so we'll have to come up with a great plan in one less day. We've got the Friday night game, which we're excited about, and so we have to come up with some big plans starting this afternoon.
Yeah, that first Sam Houston team was very good under Willie Fritz. Now it's Casey Keeler at the helm. They have a couple of players that were here the last time the Bison played, a couple of veteran players. Their wide receiver, Jedediah Lewis, who has 65 career touchdowns. For reference, Cooper Kupp had 73, so he's in pretty rarefied air there. A big part of their 3-headed monster at wide receiver. And P.J. Hall is the all-time tackles for loss leader in FCS history, past James Cowser this year with a tackle for loss in the Abilene Christian game. Both of these guys were huge parts of their loss. They got hammered pretty good, 35-3, but these guys did play in the Dome, and they do have a couple of good individual players.
Yeah, P.J. Hall's a great player, and we had the all-time sack leader in FCS a couple weeks ago. Now we have the all-time tackle for loss leader, and he's been an first-team All-American, I think, since his freshman year. And I remember Lewis as a wide receiver, really explosive guy that goes up and gets the football. And they have really good players, and Coach Keelers does a phenomenal job. He did a great job at Delaware, won a national championship, has done a really good job at Sam Houston, and have a lot of respect for his teams. And so we'll have our hands full on Friday night.
And as we look at some video of their offense, Jeremiah Briscoe is their quarterback. He was the Walter Payton Award winner last year. He's thrown for over 10,000 yards in 3 years after transferring into the Sam Houston State program. That's number 81, Nate Stewart, right there. And they suffered a huge injury. You see this player right here, 14 last night. His name's Davion Davis, the Southland Conference Offensive Player of the Year. Left the game. It looked like a serious injury, but you can see these guys can really spread you out.
Yeah, absolutely. And they have really explosive weapons on the edge, and they want to go fast in a tempo-style offense. And so it's going to be really important for us to be able to get lined up. It's really important for the crowd to try to knock that tempo down a little bit with great crowd noise, not just on third down, but on first and second down as well.
Jeremiah Briscoe and the Sam Houston State Bearcats coming to Fargo. Briscoe looks like a clone of Chris Wenke, really tall, doesn't run the ball at all. He's played 3 years and has about a negative 80 yards rushing. He's a statue back there, so it'll be interesting to see how we attack that, and it's going to be a fun matchup. We'll need that noise again, Bison Nation. Well, we're going to see how the Bison navigate this cold weather in December with a busy schedule in the Dome. You'll be interested to see this story. Stay with us. Welcome back to the show. The Fargo Dome is a busy place during the week in December, and with home field advantage, the Bison don't have to simulate the elements, so practicing outside does not help them. So how do the Bison navigate this situation? If you have driven through the campus, you may notice a big bubble over Dakota Field. Alex Egan gives us a behind-the-scenes look in this week's Olaf Anderson Construction feature story.
But once we get into this time of year and the weather starts to change, and there's a lot of activities going on in the Dome, and the Dome is busy with high school football and high school volleyball, having the bubble is a huge asset for our football program.
Playing well into the winter months has become commonplace for the Bison football team, but the changing weather outside can pose all kinds of problems for the team. The Dakota Field bubble helps some of the issues by letting the Bison stay out of the elements. The Bison have had the bubble over the last several years, and they store it on site at Dakota Field when it's not in use. But setting it up is no small task. The department bids out the work to one of a few companies nationwide that deals with field bubbles. Once the bid is completed and the primary tenant of Dakota Field, the Bison women's soccer team, season is over, the process of putting the bubble up can begin. Typically, it takes about 2 weeks to roll out the bubble and get it inflated if Mother Nature doesn't throw a wrench in the plans. This year, it took over 20 days, with crews of up to 50 people a day working to get the Bison inside.
At the end of the day, it's a huge tarp, and they pull it out, and there's a lot of cabling, and there's a lot, obviously, to put that much air into a facility and support it just takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of manpower.
For the players on the Bison team, they are thankful on those cold, windy, and dark nights to be able to be inside and focus on their task at hand and not have to worry about keeping warm.
It's kind of nice being in there where there's no wind. You know how the Fargo wind, especially coming across the entire state, and then hit Fargo where there's no trees. It's definitely nice having that wind barrier.
When we didn't have the bubble last week and the week before, I mean, we had to change up how we practiced. We had to do walkthroughs in the track facility and then go outside and practice for 9-10 periods, and we really couldn't get our full practice in like we do now with 15-16 periods. So it's just nice to be able to stay in one facility and get that rhythm down.
To just worry about our game, not have to be cold, and you got guys from Florida that aren't used to this, and it's something that we really appreciate, and it makes a big difference.
For the Bison Football Show, I'm Alex Egan.
Coach, it's important to have an option outside of the Fargo Dome, because that facility has a lot going on right now.
Yeah, it really does, especially this time of year. Not only the cold, but it's so dark, and we don't practice until 5 o'clock, and so obviously we need an indoor facility. That's the biggest thing, as it shows, is we need a permanent structure, an indoor facility that a lot of teams can use, so that we don't have the 20-day wait, and sometimes that 20 days is longer, and sometimes it's shorter, but we're really thankful to have it right now, especially with all the events going on in the Fargo Dome.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Well, in this week's Peterson Farm Seed Future Crop of Bison, we look at a Twin Cities offensive line prospect. Nash Jensen is from Osseo, which is a northern suburb of the Twin Cities. Came in well over 300 pounds, so priority number one with Nash was to get to know Jim Kramer really well, and man, has it paid off.
The biggest thing has really been learning the playbook, getting to know the plays, learn assignments, learn where my eyes got to go, what I got to do, and losing the weight, getting down to what weight I have to get to. It's been really challenging, but I've really gotten through it. Losing 48 pounds over the summer and through this year, it's been challenging, but I feel great.
Wow, Jim Kramer's done a great job, really trimmed him up, and he has a chance.
He really does. Nash has really transformed his body, and a young man that we'll look at in spring ball to help us as an interior lineman. He's a really good athlete and excited for his future.
No doubt. Best of luck to him. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about Sam Houston, the ticket situation, and move forward in the playoffs here to the semifinal round. Stay with us. Time to move into that semifinal round. Our Verizon look ahead. It's the Sam Houston State Bearcats. The 4th time we've played them in the last 7 years. Very familiar with this crew. Your season ticket holders, you have till 5 p.m. Tuesday to gather up those tickets. It's a Friday night lights situation. We're used to those. It's kind of a fun situation. Coach, do you like the Friday night games?
Absolutely. And we're down to the Final Four, and the best teams are left, and so all of them are quality. And we're excited about the challenge, and we'll attack it one day at a time. We also have finals this week.
Oh, that's right. It's always a big week, no question. You look at the bracket and the 4 teams that are left, there's certainly no Cinderellas left in this group. This is four bigger programs.
Yeah, 4 really good programs that we have a history with all 3 of the other ones in there.
Yeah.
And that's playoff history as well as regular season history. So great matchups this weekend, and best teams will keep advancing.
This is a passing team. Bison Nation, we need you. The noise will impact this game big time. You could tell how it impacted Wofford. It'll impact Sam Houston State, too. Get that baby revved up. We'll see you Friday night at the Dome, and we'll be back here next Sunday to wrap it up.
Yeah, I was going pretty hard. Fresh hash browns going in. Cock sirloin cap going on. Some breakfast hash browns. Cast iron skillet with breakfast ham. Chef Paul.